morning, everyone. Welcome to First Unitarian Church in New Bedford's virtual Sunday services. I am Karen Anderson, and I minister to this congregation as we minister to each other. Our church welcomes everyone, no matter their age, race, beliefs, ability, education, finances, who they love, or how they identify. We are people who take up the call of social justice, work for peace, and stand on the side of love in our communities and in our world. We believe in the freedom to find your own truth, the stewardship of our planet, and the inherent worth and dignity of all people. We are people of purpose here. And if these ideas resonate with you, we hope you might find a spiritual home here. We welcome everyone inside this circle of beloved community. Now, our chalice lighting words this morning are used by permission from Reverend Samuel A. Trumbore. In this time of long nights and short days, let us seek the light within by contemplating through our mind's eye the image of a candle flame. Notice how the soft, quiet, and gentle flame tamely rises from the wick. Yet just by touching a dry twig, it has the power to become a raging bonfire to light up the night. Let that little candle flame be your friend this morning. Allow it to quiet your mind as you attentively watch its flickering glow. Allow it to calm your mind in a way that brings a stillness that can light up the interior of your being, that can help you find the wellspring of your feelings. Allow it to show us our inner sense of knowing that can help us notice the ways we've strayed or harmed others, to warm us, reflecting on the ways we've been touched and the ways we've opened our hearts, and inspire us through making new connections and discovering new insights. May this simple flame touch the dry twigs that guard our hearts, allowing the power of light to penetrate our self-protection and show us the amazing potential for heat and light that resides within us. Our opening words this morning are used by permission from Reverend Gretchen Haley. There's a time to let go of the resistance, the steadfast march, to complete the to-do list for parents and activists, for all who love this life, these people, these mountains, this sky. There is a time to rest and to trust the world will go on, filled with partners at the ready, all of us splitting shifts on this project of building and healing, tending and turning. Breath and being require their own practice, their own attention, and the heart needs time for becoming stronger. After the shattering, the opening wider, the leaving to love more and again. Come into this place. Study stillness and joy. Know your belovedness like a memory calling out from the center of your being, connecting every little piece of everything to everyone and all of us. Feel here gratitude rising and praise for this chance to begin again this day with hope. Come, let us worship. Now we will read our covenant together. We come together as a religious community, upholding freedom of conscience, right relationship, and the inherent worth of all people. We value our diversity and pledge to care for one another in the spirit of compassion, to speak and listen to each other with respect, and to promote justice and kindness in the world. Now, our first hymn this morning, Voice Still and Small, number 391. Now is the time in our service where we share our joys, our concerns, our sorrows. This first candle this morning, it's a candle of love for Pam Sherman, who had a birthday this week. We love you. We miss you. We hope Brownie did something really nice for you to spoil you a little bit this week. Candle of joy, because hurricane season is officially over. But of concern, because so many people got whacked really hard this winter, repeatedly. So our love and our prayers are with all of them. Candle of concern for the rising numbers of infection and death we're seeing right now. It's scary. Please, people, stay safe and take every precaution you can. A candle of joy and thanks because we have several vaccines that are promising, truly promising, and will hopefully save millions of lives. May it be so. I light 2 final candles, as is our practice here, one for all the joys and the sorrows we keep in our hearts, and one for all of those who have yet to find a safe and supportive place to share their joys and their sorrows. What a lovely piece of music. First reading this morning is used by permission from Reverend Angela Herrera. It is called All I Could Say Was Amen. I went on a silent retreat. Sitting with a steaming teacup, I watched a cardinal outside in an azalea thicket. He twitched, hopped from tangle to tangle of branches and flew into the glass. Bap! Against the silence in the house. Bap! Again, darting as if to come to the table. Bap, bap, 10 times in all, then left. I went outside, past the steps, then down a pebbled road. I entered the New England woods, and it was autumn. I trod where the cardinals go unimpeded, under a steady rainfall of leaves from the intricate ceiling. I walked the kneeling hills that bowed beneath the heavens like prostrated believers, thrusting their leaves into the gray electric sky. All I could say was, Amen. Sometimes God is flighty as the songbird, and sometimes God seeps in with steady rain. Let us enter now into the spirit of prayer and meditation. Source of all, gracious wise one, deepest mystery, everlasting light, our world is suffering from sickness and fear, from hate and division. May all those who are ill be surrounded by your healing light, and may those souls lost be guided into the arms of the Mother. May love and support surround those who have suffered a loss, and may those on the front lines be protected and their families remain safe. And as we welcome a new president next month, let us hold fast to our principles. God of love, may we all find the strength to heal the divisions in our country. May love find its way into the hearts of those who hate. And may we choose to be better people who are kinder to each other. Amen. And so may it be. I'm going to do this short meditation by permission from Sam Trumbore. It's called Breath Meditation. Let us turn inward now. Feel the rhythm of the breath, in and out, in and out. Find the place of just being with the flow of your breath, letting go of yesterday and tomorrow. Feel the restorative power of the peace of this moment, a peace large enough to open to the concerns and sorrows that trouble us, a stillness quiet enough to respond to the joys and the celebrations that enliven us. There is safety here in the rhythm of the breath. The ebb and flow of life is enacted with each one, taking in oxygen sustenance, letting go of carbon dioxide waste, taking in the fullness of experience, letting go of the residue that wants to cling to us. Cultivate inner peace and inner safety in this sanctuary, dedicated to cultivating the spirit of life, dedicated to being a beacon of love for all beings. So may it be. goodness, what a beautiful, beautiful piece of music. That was very intense. Our second reading this morning is used by permission. It's called The School of Life. Our lives might be a lot more balanced if we learn to reallocate prestige, pulling it away from those with a full calendar and toward those wise enough to allow for some afternoons of reflection. We should think that there is courage, not just in traveling the world, but also in daring to sit home with one's thoughts for a while, risking encounters with certain anxiety-inducing or melancholy, but also highly necessary ideas. Without the shield of busyness, we might bump into the realization that our relationship has reached an impasse, or that work no longer answers to any higher purpose, or that we feel furious with a family member who is subtly exploiting our patience. The heroically hard worker isn't necessarily the one in the business lounge of the international airport. It might be the person gazing without expression out of the window and occasionally writing down one or two ideas on a piece of paper. The point of doing nothing is to clean up our inner lives. Let us now sing together another hymn, number 352, Find a Stillness. You can see the theme today, huh? Be the time in our service where we ask you for your kind donations toward our good works here. As always, you can mail your checks into 71 8th Street, New Bedford, Mass. 02740, or you can go to our webpage, uunewbedford.org, and scroll all the way down to the bottom on the right-hand corner, and you will find a donate button there. You're welcome to use it often, and thank you. Now, let's see. Our Soul Matters theme this month is stillness, in case you haven't guessed. This is one of those things that we talk about at this time of year, when the leaves have fallen and the snow piles up. We get to appreciate the stillness that winter brings. Remember when we'd get a snowstorm? It was often like a small joy. everyone would get an unexpected day off. And after all the shoveling and the snow angels, it would be all cocoa and blankets and drinking in the break from your normal routine. Everything stops because you can't go anywhere anyhow. And how sweet to have everyone home together all day long. This year has probably contained just about enough stillness and togetherness for all of us. When every day is a snow day, even during the summertime, when you always need to try and stay close to home, it might take some of the specialness out of it. Not to mention that you still have to go to work and go to school, even when you're home. It just isn't the same. But the season is the same. The snow will still fall and tinkle on our window. The lights in the darkness and the scents of fresh pine will still be there. And those we love most will be close to us. These precious things don't change. We can still find the special stillness of this season and appreciate it. We can't help it. It's rare and beautiful. But stillness, stillness. Even under quarantine, we saw that no one really wanted too much stillness. Not for long, anyhow. It was election season all year long. There's been chaos in the streets. The government is tripping over its own feet. And this pandemic has just about taken the wind out of all of us. Still, we want to fight. There's a lovely poem called Breathe by Reverend Lynn Unger that speaks to this perfectly. Breathe, said the wind. How can I breathe at a time like this when the air is full of smoke, of burning tires, burning lives? Just breathe, the wind insisted. Easy for you to say, if the weight of injustice is not wrapped around your throat, cutting off all your air. I need you to breathe. I need you to breathe. Don't tell me to be calm when there are so many reasons to be angry, so much cause for despair. I didn't say to be calm, said the wind. I said to breathe. We're going to need a lot of air to make this hurricane together. The small group resources this month says, often when stillness weaves its way into our discussions, it's framed as a retreat strategy, a balm for the frantic and frequently wounding world. But as wise ones like Reverend Unger remind us, that's not quite right. It's less like a locked room that keeps all the enemies out, and more like an oxygen mask that brings us back to life, that fills us with power. Stillness doesn't simply slow our breath and energy. It fills us with it. As Reverend Unger suggests, we don't really want to be calm these days. There is indeed so much to be angry about, so much that needs defended, resisted, and restored, which means that there's a lot at stake in how we talk and think about stillness. A stillness that invites us to simply escape the world is dangerous. A stillness that merely anesthetizes our nerves, comforts us, but widens the wounds of the world. To listen deeply to our troubled times is to hear a call to challenge the view that stillness is the resting place at the bottom of the hill we've climbed, and instead imagine it as the base camp that launches us into the long trek up the mountain. What I think Reverend Unger is getting into in her poem is that even when we are filled with the anger to do something, it still needs to be done right. And it's hard when injustice is all around us to not do something, anything, even if it isn't the right thing to do. We're all guilty of this, church. I know I am. Occasionally going off half-cocked and hoping the passion that we have will somehow ensure a positive result. And hey, sometimes it does. But taking the time to breathe, to be still for a moment, to gather yourself, to think, to plan, that's how things really get done. I can guarantee there have been few successful revolutions where there wasn't someone taking notes, making lists, assigning tasks, and making sure there was sufficient preparation before running headlong into the battle. There's nothing wrong with fighting for what you believe, but there's something wrong with not having a strategy or one hand not knowing what the other one is doing. And that requires some modicum of stillness, if not calm, if you want to actually get things done. Hope for the best, plan for the worst, as my father used to say. And there's another side of this stillness that we fight against too. The Soul Matters resource says, alongside this vision of stillness enabling us to gather strength, also sits the equally important idea of stillness as something that clarifies our perception. So think of meditation or prayer, of quiet, uninterrupted, alone time without much distraction. Lots of people take a few minutes to meditate or pray every day, and it's good for us to be still for a while. To just be quiet and sit can be hard to do. Certainly the Buddhist idea of clearing your mind completely is very difficult for a lot of us. If I can achieve that for just a few minutes, that's amazing. My mind races like wild horses, and it can be just as hard to slow down. Rarely are we truly alone with our thoughts and still during the day. Just before bedtime is probably the closest many of us get. And that's when we risk encountering ourselves, which can be the scariest thing of all. Those unguarded thoughts that creep in the night when we're still. That's often when worry and anxiety and depression can sink in when we're alone with our thoughts. It makes us vulnerable, maybe. Maybe we just have to have time to let our thoughts finally catch up to us when the important stuff that we might have pushed to the back of our heads to get our job done finally reaches the front of our heads. Our culture has developed an affinity for constant stimulation, which looks a lot like an aversion to stillness and quiet. When was the last time you were in a waiting room anywhere, a doctor's office, a pharmacy? And how many of those people were just sitting there, staring off into the distance, quietly doing nothing and waiting? Very few. Before our cell phones were there, it was magazines, right? Even just standing in line now, we have to be on the phone. I'm as guilty as anyone else. Why wouldn't I read the news or text somebody or finish my game of Tetris while I had a few minutes to kill, right? I think sometimes the things that make us so smart all this technology has made us almost proportionally unwise. We are multitaskers, and that has gotten us far in civilization. And I'm a science nerd. I want to see progress. But at the same time, I feel like sometimes we forget what it means to sit around a fire together in silence until someone has a story to tell or a song to sing. Or when we share a big meal with family or friends. And now when Grandma says it's time to say grace, every voice goes quiet to appreciate the moment and the bounty. I feel like the more that we lose that, the more we get further from empathy, further from our humanity, and from ourselves. Stillness that invites us to simply escape the world is dangerous. I think this can apply just as easily to being still, sometimes for our own sake, as it is for being still in order to gather your resources and breathe before the hurricane. If we try to find our stillness in a lot of distraction, we will not find it. So, okay, Karen, what do you want us to do? Find one of those sensory deprivation tanks and float in there a while? Oof. I don't know about you, but even the thought of that much stillness and quiet makes me anxious. I wouldn't last long. No, I just want you to close your eyes and hold in your mind for a moment how it feels to sit in front of a fire in silence. The warmth of it, the smell of it, how watching it burn almost triggers your mind to wander outside itself, to wander within itself. That's the kind of stillness I mean. I get it when I sit and I watch the bird feeder. My mind just gathers itself, holds itself in the stillness of the tree while the birds dance around it. Hold that kind of stillness in your mind and breathe. Do it for 30 seconds. Do it for 30 minutes. Just make the practice of stillness and quiet in your mind work for you. Breathe deeply. Make it your practice. We all need this. We don't have to be calm. We just have to breathe and be still temporarily so we may make time for ourselves. So may we make time to do this for ourselves. Amen, church. So may it be. Our closing words this morning as we extinguish our chalice are from Reverend Scott Taylor, used by permission. When the winds of your daring days begin to swirl, may you find your breath. May you remember that still point inside that is always waiting to welcome you back home. And from that place of sacred peace, may you be an anchor of calm for those who need it as much as you. Go in peace, go in love. Amen. Hold fast, church. Be good to each other. Spread light. We'll see you next week.